all generations.
All Souls Tulsa and All Souls Everywhere members try to live out what we call love beyond belief.
Bring your whole self each week to our worship services, Humanist Hour, and programs for families and adults.
Empower your children with a religious education that helps them make their own decisions about what they believe.
Connect and learn from our community of diverse experiences, faith, and cultures.
Sing with others in one of our many choirs.
Explore your creativity and find healing in the chapter of your life that you're in right now.
At All Souls, our members care for each other through the highs and the lows of our lives.
Live out love beyond belief here in Tulsa, across our nation, and around the world.
Join us. Become a member of the All Souls family in our centennial year.
At All Souls, our members care for each other through the joys and the sorrows of life.
All Souls Tulsa and All Souls Everywhere.
Join today at allsoulschurch.org.
Dream on, might have a problem. We all need somebody to dream with, to dream on. Dream with me.
Glorious to be here on this gorgeous fall day for our homecoming Sunday here at the Point, where agnostics and atheists and seekers of all kinds, believers, people of any faith or no faith at all, are welcome to come together and ask the big questions and share answers and what works for us. We have a wonderful service for you this morning. In just a minute, Margot Starr will light our chalice. She's a youth who grew up in this community as part of this congregation, and her mother actually was on staff, served as our director of youth programming for many, many years. Before we light our chalice, though, I'd like to invite you to say our covenant together. It's a promise we make together, a way of being together in community in this non-creedal spiritual and religious community. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We welcome all those of you who are joining us online. Perhaps you're lighting your chalices at home, and Margot Starr will lead us this morning in our chalice lighting.
Hi, All Souls. This is Margot Starr. I grew up at All Souls and can remember the excitement of many homecoming Sundays. I'm so happy to be joining you virtually this year from my house in Stillwater, Oklahoma State, where I just started my senior year. May this be a wonderful year for all of us. The poet Langston Hughes wrote, "Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly." May this chalice flame challenge each of us to cherish our dreams, for all things worth doing begin in the courage and inspiration of a dream.
That we did in the Point, this service, which we created 10 years ago. This is the 10-year anniversary of the Point, which is we should have had a cake or something, right? So 10 years ago, we decided we wanted to have a service that was a humanist service that was oriented towards those who may not be looking to come to a church and sing hymns and read from the Bible and do all those things. So we said we want those folks to be part of our community, and we know that folks want inspiration in their lives, and they want to be part of a community that serves the greater good. And so I see some children who are with us this morning, and you'll be going off to your classrooms in just a moment, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that we have these rituals, throughout time, human beings. Actually, one of the things that archaeologists have said sort of created the moment where we transition into what it means to be human is the act of having rituals. They'll find burial plots with little cups or vases and things like that, and they'll realize that they were starting to do rituals for people who were dying. And so ritual and our humanity are connected. There's an idea that we mark important moments in our lives. We don't just let them go by, so that we can look back. They become touchstones that we can look back and remember these moments. A wedding, a child dedication. If you grew up Christian, it might have been called a christening. If you grew up Jewish, it would be a bris for a baby when the baby's born. Welcoming that baby into the community. We call it a child dedication. And if you have any children or babies that want to be dedicated in here or in the other service, we're always open to that. On any Sunday, if we can arrange that, we'd love to have you bring your children forward. Because in the ceremony, we say the child's name. We pledge as a community our support to the family to help raise this child. And so that's the first ritual. And then in 9th grade, we have a coming-of-age class. And in 9th grade, the children get to learn about and study, what do I believe? I know I've been learning from Sunday school about all these different religious beliefs and philosophies, but in 9th grade, we learn, we get the young people to say, but what do you believe? And we challenge them with the big questions, and we let them figure out their own answers with our help and support. And then on Coming-of-Age Sunday every year in the spring, they come forward and they read their credo statement. This is what I believe at this point in my life. And that's the culmination of the child dedication. Because at the child dedication, the parents bring this baby or child forward and dedicate them to a life of righteousness and love, but now it's their chance to come forward with their own will and their own intention to say, yes, I do, and this is what it looks like for me, and it's amazing. You have young people with everything from agnostic to liberal Christian to Buddhist and, all kinds of spiritual traditions that they have drawn from to really understand themselves in the world. It's incredible. I think more people join the church after coming of age Sunday than any other Sunday of the year because they say, I want my kids and grandkids to grow up with that kind of confidence and open-mindedness and strong values. Anyway, so we give the little baby, we gave this little child, Violet, a rose, a white rose. That's part of the ritual. And as part of the ritual, we touch the baby's eye and say, may your eyes see beauty, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world all the days of your life. And then we give the baby this white rose. Now, we took all the thorns off the rose. Because, as a baby, you can't really, that would be kind of, sadistic or something to leave them on. But in ninth grade, we give them a white rose, the coming of age class, a boutonniere or some kind of a corsage, but we leave the thorns on. Because at that stage in their life, their parents can't protect them from all the pain and the suffering and the hurt, and it's time they're beginning to have to navigate their life and the fullness of life. So these are important rituals. Sometimes ministers, when they're joking around off camera, thinking about child dedication, wedding, and memorial service or funeral, they call it hatch, match, and dispatch. But they're important moments in life. And I guess what I want to say is that even here in a humanist service, in a service where people are figuring out, where they fit, we all have in us this desire to mark these important, or many of us anyway, have this desire to mark these important moments for ourselves, for our families as touchstones. And so I invite you to participate in that. And if you're a young person here, you can ask your parents how many people here of any age, children, anyone, was in some way christened, dedicated, bris, had some kind of a ritual that you know of as a kid. So about half or more of us, even more than half of us. So it is a special time often for family and friends, and so we invite you to do that here as well. So for our children, we're so glad you're with us this morning, and at this time I'm going to invite you to go off to your classrooms as we continue the service together. Our theme today is dreams, and our children, if you think about it, we dream of our children before they're even born. We dream about having children, and we dream about what it might be like, and they're really in many ways the embodiment of our dreams. Our children are, and our grandchildren after that. They're an embodiment, and then we have dreams after they're born about what they might do, and then they don't always do them, and all that. We go through all that, and then they have their own dreams. They develop their own dreams. And so in so many ways, we are these, we're these bottles of dreams. We're other people's dreams, and we have our own dreams, and life is filled with dreams. The reading that I brought to you this morning is on the topic of buffering. It's called The Law of Buffers, and it was written by an interesting woman named Biet Simkin. She's like a life coach and an author. And she writes, I like to ask my clients, how much joy can you stand? It seems like an easy question, right? You may say, I can stand all the joy. But you may also change your tune when I show you how you try to mediate or lessen the shock of bliss all the time. In other words, you buffer it. Buffers are simply habits and practices that we use to avoid the totality of consciousness. We buffer not only our bliss and our sadness and our pain, really any feeling that allows us to experience ourselves and this life completely. In this state, we not only fail to avoid pain, we dull the joy as well. So, how do we learn to make ourselves available to experience the full range of human emotions? All of life. Well, first we have to see how we buffer our reality. We procrastinate to buffer the brevity of life, pretending we have all the time in the world. We feign apathy towards unrealized dreams, calling them unrealistic, to buffer the pain of unfulfilled desires. We toss sarcastic comments into intimate moments with our friends and our loved ones to buffer our vulnerability. We rationalize away feedback from others to buffer the pain of growing and changing, choosing instead to stay in our comfort zone. It's ironic that we try so hard to buffer reality because what awaits us on the other side of buffers is bliss. The serene, calm contentment that comes from a willingness to open ourselves to the present moment. Open yourself to the present moment.
Today we honor.
Okay. We honor the day.
Today we honor the mystery and complexity of life. We acknowledge that life is never static, and that change is the only permanent thing we are presented with. But we feel thankful that we do not have to traverse the path of life alone. We are grateful for being a part of this community to share our lives' transitions, both joyful and painful. Holding space for the family and friends of longtime member Carmelita McNair, who died September 6th. Services will be held here at All Souls on September 26th at 1 p.m. We hold space for Boyce Riley and family on the loss of Boyce's brother-in-law, Wayne Fields, who died September 6th. Warm thoughts from my mother, Valerie Lewis, on the loss of her brother, my uncle, Ermit Brazil, who also died on September 6th. And in recognition of the 21st anniversary of 9/11, we hold space for the individuals and families still affected by this national tragedy. Let the warmth of this moment remind us of the love that holds us close. And may we carry this love and concern for others into a brief moment of silent reflection.
'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Beautiful. Jillian, you're a dream come true. I'm looking at a million dreams out here. The dreams that dreamed you into life, the dreams you hold inside you, the dreams you haven't even begun to dream. Our dreams together as a community. We are the realization, in some cases, the fulfillment of a dream. That song, Every Night I Lie in Bed, the bright colors filling my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. Thinking about the world that could be, a vision of the one I see, a million dreams of the world we're gonna make. I wanna talk about the world we're gonna make, because it's time to wake up and start living our lives and dreaming again. You know, we've been through, the last couple years have been really hard. And a lot of us have been putting things off. We've been putting off our travel. We've been putting off, some people have been putting off getting married. Some people have been putting off going to school because they don't want to do it online. So they're like waiting to go to school or take a program or change jobs because, you know, there's just, everything's so unsure. They've been waiting to move maybe, or just so many things that we've been waiting to. Some people have been waiting to date 2 years. Because of the pandemic. We've been through something that we couldn't have, many of us couldn't have even dreamed. We would have, you know, if someone would have told us, well, we're all going to be staying home and wearing masks and changing our lives, not just us, but all over the world, we wouldn't believe them. And so we've been putting off our goals. And we've been putting off many of the things that matter to us. But life is for the living. And it's time for us to start living again. Do you know that symbol, this one here on the screen, that you get in the computer when it's buffering? Like you want to watch something, or you're trying to get to a website and your computer's like, hold on, we're looking for, I'm not sure, we're going to find, you know, it's called buffering. The computer, it's the most annoying, frustrating thing. I mean, it could be going, it might be going on only for 30 seconds, but it feels like forever. Like, what? Come on already. I want to watch this amazing video that I couldn't have watched years ago without, and then, connection error has occurred, right? Sometimes you can't even get through. But this is what happens when we buffer our lives too. Sometimes a connection error occurs. We can lose connection to our own dreams, to our own essence, to our own goals. What's our life about? We can lose connection to each other. We can lose connection to what's most important to us in life. And author and life coach, who I shared that reading a little bit earlier, Biet Simkin is her name, and she talks about this, how we buffer joy, even in regular times. A lot of us have sort of trained ourselves to put up some walls against those moments when something is happening and we don't want to express let the tears flow or acknowledge what's going on. She described these as habits and practices that we use to avoid the totality of consciousness. We buffer, when we do, we buffer not only our bliss, but our sadness and our pain and it doesn't work. We fail to avoid our pain, and at the same time, we dull our own joy. So she says, let it in. Now, I want to tell a story on myself about the very day that I read that. I do a reading every morning to kind of inspire me and try to live my life a little bit better and nobler and just more peacefully and happily. And so I read that reading one morning, and that same day, I was working on a project with Barbara and I were working on something. It was just the two of us, and we're working, and we're trying to figure this thing out related to the staff and the church, and I look over, and Barbara's smiling, and I'm like, what are you smiling about? And Barbara was, she's like, well, I'm just smiling because it's fun. It's fun working together. It's fun, we make a good team, and she was just feeling it in that moment, and I thought, and I think it's because, Barbara's leaving. She's announced she's leaving in a year, and I think so everything's heightened for us. A lot of us hear about, working with Barbara, and so we're kind of feeling that more intensely that, these moments are fleeting that we have with each other, so it's sort of heightened for us. So, now, as she said that, though, I made some sarcastic comment to kind of brush it off, like, oh, come on, something. And then I looked at Barbara's face, and she was so disappointed. I saw this disappointment on her face, and it hit me like, oh, I just sort of ruined this. It was a nice moment. She was feeling joy, and I just buffered her joy and my own at the same time. And so I just started laughing at myself, saying, I just read this morning how we do this. And I'm doing it. And so I took a moment to breathe and to take in the joy of that I get to work with Barbara, that I get to be even in this role with all of you. And I just took that in. But I want to acknowledge, I'm going to say it right now, I'm in recovery as an inveterate bufferer. And I want to invite you to also, if you're one too, to join me. We might have to start a 12-step program or something for those of us who sometimes have a hard time letting in all the emotions that we're feeling. Now, as a congregation, All Souls has been buffering too. We've been putting off programming, putting off different kinds of things, that hiring and programming, and even our expansion plans on this campus. Before the pandemic, we were all geared towards moving downtown, and we were working on that. It was a huge project, and it was actually after about a year into the pandemic that we realized, this is too much of a dangerous project for us to take on right now with the economy, and we don't know what's going on with churches and church life, and we just realized that it was too much, and the community came together and decided, we better stick with what we have here and use what we have to expand here. It was a hard decision, but I think it was the right decision for us. And the thing was that we could have been in the middle of a huge multi-million-dollar project, and then the pandemic came. It'd be half built. Economy would be tanking. We'd be trying to figure out how we're going to fund it. We would have put this property at risk in order to borrow to make it happen. So we could have really been in a difficult position had this pandemic come, and we were already moving forward on that project. So we made a good decision, but now we're here, and we've been waiting 2 years ago. Well, what are we going to do? We've raised a few $1 million. Many of us are still making our pledges towards the growth and expansion of this church. So what are we going to do? And so I just want to let you know that with this Homecoming Sunday, we are stopping the buffering, and we're ready to start talking about it. And so we're going to have town hall meetings over the next few months. You're going to hear about this, and I want you to come and be a part of it. Even if you're online, we want you to be a part of it so we can talk about what technology we need in this, any expansion, so that we can be a community. Because we have people now joining us from 4 continents, from over 20 states. And any given Sunday, we have that. And in our classes, they'll come on Zoom. And we've got folks, we call it All Souls Everywhere, because there's folks from everywhere. And we want to keep that community apart even as we start coming together more as well. So I just want you to know, this historic church is going to be making historic changes. It's going to be one of the most consequential years or few years in the life of this church. We're 101 years old. And after 100 years, it's time for us to make some decisions. Our children, our dreams are going to be something that our children and grandchildren, and those we don't even know, are going to benefit from. So I don't even want to imagine what Tulsa would be like without All Souls. Do you? I can't even imagine. And so having a healthy, thriving, strong All Souls where people know they can come, bring their children, bring their families in good times and bad, that's what we need to be making room for in this new era. And I think more people are wanting this kind of community than ever before because people are taking stock of their religion, of their politics, of their thinking. So much is changing, and more and more people are wanting a center of gravity like we have here at All Souls. Last month, a really influential Presbyterian minister and author, some people don't even know he's a minister because of his writing, but his name was Frederick Buechner, and he died last month, and a really, really influential American thinker and religious person. And when he was asked the single essential insight of his prolific writing and career, what was it? He said, "Listen to your life." Here's a quote. And I'll say, he uses the word God, of course. He's a Presbyterian minister. But I want to translate this for those, who might not, have a traditional idea of God or that kind of thing. But think of it as the sacred. Think of it as, this moments that feel really special, like really those essential, like, wow, this is a really great moment. This is one of those moments that makes life worth happening. So when he talks about God, you might think of the sacred or the holy or a sacred moment that you're having. He says, if indeed there is a God, he explained, which most of the time I believe there is, and I think that's why he was such a beloved minister, because he even admitted that even the most faithful people sometimes wonder if God is real, and they have their doubts too, and so I do appreciate that about him. He says, one of the ways that God or the sacred speaks to us, and maybe one of the most powerful ways, is through what happens to us. Pay attention, he says, when unexpected tears come to your eyes and what may trigger them. Those sudden upwellings of emotion we get from the sublimity of nature and art, when we see a whale breaching or are emotionally ambushed by the line in a movie or a poem. We are led towards beauty and truth by a lump in the throat. Now, after reading this, I went out and found a video of a whale breaching because I just wanted to see it. So I want to show you. I brought it for you to see. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, it's awesome. It's amazing, right? Look at that. Oh, it's huge. It's incredible. Life is awesome, and it's incredible, and it's got beauty and wonder and stuff that is just amazing. So when tears come to your eyes, when there's a welling up of emotions or a lump in your throat, don't buffer, but allow it. Allow yourself to experience it in the fullness of life and consciousness of what it means to be human. Let in the beauty. Let in the joy. Yes, it may mean also that you'll have to let in some of the pain and sadness and struggle as well, but it's worth it. The elders always say it's worth it, because to live without having love, to live without having opened ourselves, if we do, we're gonna hurt sometimes. But if we don't, we're just missing so much of what it means to be alive. In his famous book, The Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell says that I don't believe people are looking for the meaning of life as much as they are looking for the experience of being alive. Now, I mostly agree with him, but I think that being truly alive and also finding the meaning in our life together is what makes life so incredibly special and worthwhile. So I'm going to end with a story. It's a vision that I have. It's a dream, if you will. It's of someone I'm calling Lynn, and Lynn could be any gender, any ethnicity, any background, religion that you want Lynn to be. So as the pandemic began to feel as if it was ending, and we were changing into a new normal, Lynn was so disheartened about all of the divisions in our society, the fault lines in our democracy, and even the brokenness within Lynn's own family over everything that was going on. Lynn was seeing rights being taken away for the first time in this country. Was watching books by great Americans like Frederick Douglass and Maya Angelou and John Steinbeck and Toni Morrison and S.E. Hinton being banned from public schools. Lynn was seeing how the most vulnerable in our society, trans kids, immigrants, and others were being attacked by politicians and even by their own neighbors. And Lynn was watching the environment crying out for us to do something different. And one day, Lynn went to the gathering place. You know, the fairly new, world-class, $500 million park that's only 5 blocks away from All Souls. A short walk from where we are right now, those of us who are not online from Europe or Africa. And she was amazed at how most people who were there were from all different backgrounds, from all over the city, even other parts of Oklahoma, even other states, people were coming in, and just all kinds of different people, different religions, different races, different walks of life. And they were all enjoying themselves, and Lynn was enjoying this as well. But as Lynn's family left the park, Lynn realized they were in proximity to a lot of interesting and different people, but they didn't make any lasting connections. On the way home, Lynn saw a sign for a church named All Souls. That was an interesting name, she thought, maybe an interesting title of a sermon on there. Now, Lynn was not a church person. But something attracted Lynn to come one Sunday, and Lynn immediately felt that All Souls buzz. You know that hum that you kind of sense when you walk in and this place is full of people and activity? Oh. And you're feeling it right now. I'm feeling it right now. No, and so that, you know, just that sense of like, wow, these people are happy to be here. These people are, they feel free to be themselves. They seem like they're just glad. They're not feel like they're faking anything. They don't have to pretend to be anything they're not. They could just be here and be in community, and they seem like their life has some purpose, and they've got things to do, and they're active, and they're serving, or they're meeting friends, and they're being in authentic community. So if you've been around here a while, you know what I'm talking about, that buzz that you feel when you walk into All Souls. It's full of people. And Lynn liked the message, and she loved the music. And on the way out, Lynn saw tables with people signing up to, if they wanted to be involved in helping with reproductive justice and voting registration and public education and feeding the hungry, and Lynn decided to sign up. And over the next few years, Lynn became a leader in All Souls. Lynn took the foundations classes. She joined a Wellspring small group. Lynn met Lynn's life partner here. And through All Souls, Lynn has friends of all ages and all generations. People with different beliefs, including some who are atheists and agnostics, and some who are Buddhists, and a bunch of people who are the most open-hearted liberal Christians that she'd ever met, and some who are Muslim or Jewish. And one day, Lynn realized that this congregation, All Souls, is a genuine gathering place where people come together. They don't just play in proximity with one another, but they actually blend their lives together with others who are similar and different from themselves. They're actually making community. They promise to help raise each other's children. They celebrate the moments of marriage and memorialize the moments of death together. People give each other rides to appointments and visit each other in the hospital and bring you meals when you're sick. Lynn began calling All Souls the gathering place for courageous love. Now, I know that you may already be living this vision or dream of mine. And yet there are so many others who don't even know it exists. And we know that our lives and their life and this community will be so much better when they finally realize that they too can be part of a community of courageous love. It's time. It's time to dream again and plan again and be fully alive. Because you know what happens when we stop buffering? You know, when we stop buffering in our lives, the wonder and the fullness of life emerges and fills us with something spectacular. Now, I'm not gonna buffer it this morning, as I've been known to do, even if it causes me a lump in the throat. I'm just going to tell you how much I love you. And I love this place. And I love what we do here. I love what we stand for. So welcome home. Welcome home. It's time to start living again. And there's going to be no stopping us now. Thank you.
Can you get that vibe going? I could just listen to that, you know. It's only 12:13. We're gonna need your help in a minute. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove, right, Reverend Barker? I see that little move there. We show him how it goes, David. You ready? Yes. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. We've got the groove. So let's try that together. Ain't no stopping. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. We've got the groove. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Thank you, Dad. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. You ready? There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting ourselves together. We're polishing up our act. If you felt we've been held down before, I know you'll refuse to be held down anymore, because don't you let nothing stand in your way. Stand
stopping us now. We've got the groove. Ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove. Why don't you play it a little while? Come on. Can you clap your hands like this? Come on. There you go. Give it up for Rick Ford, everybody. Yeah. We're on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. We've got the groove.
We don't ever want them to stop, do we?
No.
Another big round of applause for Jillian Storm, our soloist. I saw a lot of you out there singing. I hope you were watching, the two of you. I saw a lot of future choir members in the audience this morning. Hope you'll come back, all you music lovers, on Wednesday the 21st for Wednesday Connections kickoff. We're going to have an amazing New Orleans-style brass band. They're called King Cabbage. You may have heard of them. King Cabbage. King Cabbage. They're terrific. 8 brass players. And a big bass drum. So look forward to bring your children, your grandchildren, your grandparents. It's a chance for all of us to gather together to create meaningful, courageous, loving community here at the gathering place, the church, right? Not the gathering place, the park. That's on the 21st. On the 14th, we're having a leadership event right here in Emerson Hall with your ministers. If you serve on a board or a team and a committee, if you have in the past, if you hope to do so in the future, hope you'll join us that evening. We'll talk more about what the church is going through, what the plans for the future are, and we're asking you to bring a dessert to share. That's on the 14th. There are lots of ways to sign up and get involved this morning, and even if you don't know what you want to do, you just know you want to do something, hope you'll write down your name, your email address, and we'll reach out to you, and we'll help you match your gifts and your talents and your passion and your purpose with the needs of this community within the walls and beyond our walls. You may want to sign up for our RE program. We're looking for teachers, guides, our religious education program to work in our classrooms with our little ones all the way through high school. And you don't have to be a parent to help. It's a way of building meaningful relationships across the generations. So we've got some people from our religious education or exploration programs here this morning. Also, we're signing people up to vote. Our Voting is Power team is outside trying to sign up our youth, maybe who are registering to vote for the first time. So always an active community. So glad you're here. It is great to see people here I haven't seen in such a long time. Our offering today goes to Partners in Education. That's some of the really good work we do in the world in our 3 partner schools. You can be a reading buddy, a study buddy, a driver, a mentor, an aide, a chaperone, and you can support those programs and our teachers and our public schools by giving generously this morning. And if you'd like to make a donation to the church, on your way out you can grab an envelope on that table in the back, and we'll now gratefully receive this morning's offering.
It is time we lead ourselves into
beautiful. These three are just so precious. Yeah. You know, I realized we used to have 2 services at 11:30 before the pandemic, and some people are probably, saying like, well, this is different. If you used to come to the service that was in the sanctuary and you're coming here for the first time, you're like, well, this is different. We're not quite ready to launch a 3rd service again right now. We're kind of focused on the 2 services, building back the community, getting everybody together, and really strengthening what we have. But I do want to say that a lot of the people who used to go to the 11:30 service in the sanctuary have started to come to the 10 o'clock service in the sanctuary. So I invite you, if this service is a little too thin of prayer and scripture and some of the other rituals, that you're more than welcome to come to the service at 10. But this service is a special and unique place, and sometimes it feels like the electricity in here is so strong and so special. I think people would not believe that you could have a humanist service without expressions of deities and all that other stuff, and have so much positivity and so much energy and so much love in the air. So I think it's an incredible place. So for you, just like we say to our children, may your eyes see beauty, but let me say, don't buffer it. Go out into this week, let your eyes see beauty, let your lips speak truth, let your heart know love, and may your hands do the good works of this world until we meet again. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marlon. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to the point.